Welcome to the Well Woman Coaching Podcast, where faith meets wellness and women rise into healing and wholeness. I'm your host, Alexis Crisp, certified Christian life coach, fitness trainer, and nutrition educator. Each week, we explore what it means to live well, spiritually, mentally, and physically. From movement and mindset to rest and renewal, this is your space to grow strong in faith and wellness. As it says in 3 John chapter 1 verse 2, "Dear friend, I pray that you may enjoy good health and that all may go well with you, even as your soul is getting along well." However you showed up today, tired, thriving, or somewhere in between, I'm glad you're here. Let's be well women together. Hey friends, today we're talking about something that's close to my heart, practicing who you want to be. I'm not talking about performing, pretending, or being fake, but practicing, intentionally choosing day by day to show up as the healed, whole, thriving version of you, even if you don't fully feel like her yet. Let's go deeper. For me, there have been a few practices I have in place that help me to show up as this version. I'm a Toastmasters member of 3 clubs. I am actively attending gym classes, group fitness. I am part of a chess club. I'm also part of a few book clubs. These are the things I have in my life that help support me and give me scheduled spaces each month that I know I get to be this version that God has called me to be. For the purpose of simplicity and this episode, I'm going to speak just about Toastmasters. I didn't go there in 2009 to become a speaker. I went because I was fighting severe anxiety and depression. I was out of work for a few months on disability because the anxiety had become that debilitating in my life. That's when I started a very consistent therapy regimen. I was taking medication at the time as prescribed by my doctor, and all of these things were helping me to overcome the anxiety and return to work. What I knew is that this anxiety was not my birthright. This is not what God has planned for me, and I am going to fight it until my last breath. I'm going to fight and overcome this anxiety. At work, I saw a flyer about Toastmasters. It was a corporate club and it said supportive and nurturing environment. And the people on the flyer looked so friendly and smiling. Everybody was looking positive on the flyer. So I took a chance. So let's be real. I brought all of my anxiety with me to the first meeting. It's not about being perfect. It's just about showing up. I was able to get dressed, show up, and just get to the meeting, anxiety and all. And then I went back. I went back over and over and over again. And that's where I first started the practice of becoming the person that I have been called to be. And it's not just about me taking an action and doing the thing, it's also about the environment that I put myself in this encouraging, nurturing, supportive group. Let me tell you about my first meeting. They asked the guests to introduce themselves. I was able to say my name and why I was there. Everyone cheered for me. Immediately, everyone's cheering that I introduced myself. I said, wow, this is great. During the speech, during the meeting, there was a prepared speaker. That person spoke for about 5 to 7 minutes. They have a timer. I love timing. I time just about everything, and I work very well in structured environments. I need to know when does it start and when does it end. I notice there's a lot less anxiety for me when things have a very clear end time. I loved everything about this meeting. The timer held up cards to let everybody know when it was time to wrap up. So there's no guessing with Toastmasters, it's structured. Then we reached the part of the meeting called table topics. Table topics is when you're asked a question that you don't know ahead of time, and then you have 1 to 2 minutes to provide your answer. Again, working within the time frame. I can do hard things for 2 minutes. When I was called on, I knew at a minimum of 1 minute that green card would go up and I could wrap it up if I felt uncomfortable. But guess what happens after you start speaking for 1 minute is that you do feel comfortable. And I went on for the next minute. I really wish I could go back and remember what my first table topics question was. If I had, the hindsight is 2020. So I wish I had journaled that day and kept the journal of my first Toastmasters meeting and what that question was. That's something I would love to have with me at this stage. I answered that question, and guess what everyone did? Again, clapping, cheering, smiling. Great job. Supportive and encouraging, just like the flyer said. This gave me evidence that I was safe, that I took an action and was in a safe environment, and I could just be me. No judgment, just encouragement. What I didn't realize at the time is that I wasn't just speaking, I was actually training my brain to think and feel differently. There is a term for this, it is called neuroplasticity. What is neuroplasticity? That's your brain's ability to rewire itself. And that's going to be based on what you are doing repeatedly over and over and over again. So by having anxiety attacks and being triggered by the same things over and over again, I'm actually encouraging my brain and encouraging those neural pathways for anxiety. I stepped into Toastmasters into a different environment. And in that moment, gave my brain an opportunity to rewire itself in another direction. I kept going. I kept practicing being confident, practicing being social, even when I felt scared, but I was in this safe space. And that is how my brain started to believe that this was possible. I was creating new pathways and not staying stuck in a survival anxious state. Yes, science absolutely backs this up. In 2011, there is a study that found that repeated practices like mindfulness or speaking in supportive environments can literally change the structure of your brain. And let's see what the Bible says. The Bible says this also. Romans chapter 12, verse 2 says, "Be transformed by the renewing of your mind." And that's what I was doing, renewing my mind, not all at once, but day by day and over time. One decision, one meeting, one brave table topics response at a time. Healing isn't always about rest. Yes, there's an aspect of rest to it, but sometimes you need to be rehearsing. You need to be actively engaged and practicing this other version of yourself. You may need to get dressed up and go to Toastmasters or the gym or a book club or whatever works for you, a sewing class. What are the hobbies you had as a child that have just been kind of pushed to the side? That's how I joined the chess club and started sewing again. I had to think and do an inventory. I don't need to come up with new hobbies. What are the things that I used to do? Some of the things that were a part of my identity before a trauma happened, before life got in the way, before I got busy, that I can just re-tap into right now. So instead of being weighed down by fear, I can place myself in environments and be around people who are going to support and encourage a healed, whole, thriving version of me by tapping into the science of neuroplasticity. It doesn't have to be Toastmasters for you. Maybe it's therapy. That's for you to decide. But you have to find your own space, and when you find it, protect it. Toastmasters is on my calendar. And I set boundaries around that. My family knows, everyone knows I'm getting to my Toastmasters meeting. Whatever's happening in the house, whatever's going on, I'll see you after my meeting. I'm on my way out to Toastmasters now. And that's the boundary that you have to set to protect yourself and the safe spaces that you create for yourself, because you matter and your healing matters and it needs to be a priority for you. You can't heal in the same environment that's also feeding your insecurities and self-doubt. I want to leave you with this. It's just a question. Who are you practicing to be? I don't mean when people are watching you, but when in the quiet moments when you're on your own and when it's a hard day. Are you practicing a habit of self doubt? Are you practicing being a person with an anxiety disorder? Are you practicing and behaving like a person who's depressed? These are the questions that I ask myself. And even when it's taking a lot of energy to shift in another direction, by asking myself these questions, I'm able to start to dress the part and do the things and practice being a bold person, a courageous person, a healed, whole, and thriving woman. You get to choose. And I promise you, the time is going to pass anyway. Why not let it pass while you are becoming? Let's keep practicing together and let's be well women together. Thanks for joining me on the Well Woman Coaching Podcast. I hope today's episode inspired you to live well and walk boldly in your calling. If it blessed you, subscribe, leave a review and a comment, and share it with another woman you love. Visit wellwomancoaching.net for coaching resources and upcoming events. Remember, this is a space for women and the men who are cheering them on their wellness journeys. As always, let's reflect on 3 John chapter 1, verse 2. Dear friend, I hope that you may enjoy good health and that all may go well with you, even as your soul is getting along well. I'm glad you joined me. Until next time, keep your heart anchored in faith and your habits rooted in wellness. Let's continue to be well women together.